Thanks for joining me for part 1 of this series on how to make this ocean view scene in Blender. This series will be aimed at beginners with a little bit of experience in navigating Blender and a little bit of familiarity with some of its basic features. This isn't really aimed at absolute beginners, so if this is your very first time using Blender, I'd recommend you seek out an absolute beginner's course so you can get familiar with some of the basics, and then hopefully you'll come back and join me for this in the near future. Let's get started. I'll have screencast keys on, so you'll see what I'm pressing over here in the left corner. And if you have any questions, by all means ask them in the comments section. First thing we'll do, we'll delete the starting cube. It's just easier to start with a plane. And then I'm going to turn off the visibility of the cameras and the lights. And then we'll press Shift A. We'll add a mesh plane. We'll open the properties panel with the N key. We'll go to item. And then we'll make this room, we'll make it 10 meters wide. And then we'll make it 8 meters deep. And then that's it. We'll close that properties panel. And now we're going to go into edit mode. Let's name this first real quick. Let's go up here and name this floor. Then we'll go into edit mode. We'll go into edge select mode. And then we will grab just this edge. And we're going to duplicate it. And then we're going to separate it. We're going to select it. We're going to extrude it on the Z-axis. Make this room like 3.5 meters tall. It's a nice big room. So that's the floor. This is the front wall. And then we'll make a ceiling. Duplicate this edge. Separate it. Select it, and then let's switch our snap mode to edge, and then let's extrude it on the x-axis, hold control, and when we hover over that edge it'll snap to it and line that right up. And we'll call this ceiling. We need to cut a shape in here that we're going to put the windows in. So we'll go into edit mode and we will put an edge in there, and then we're just going to Control B and bevel it. Split it apart into this big window frame. We'll cut another edge loop in, put it somewhere up here, and then we'll select this face and separate it. We're going to call this the window frame. And then we're going to go into edit mode. I'm going to put some cuts in here. Let's put in 4 cuts. So now we'll Control B, we'll bevel these about that thick. We'll put in another edge loop up here somewhere. Let's do these low. These will be for the main windows. These will be low. Something like that. And then we'll bevel these. Try to make it about the same width as the other part. You could do whatever you want, really. I think it might look good like that. Then we're going to put another one in up here for the middle window. And then we just need a border around the edge. So put one in up here. We can, to make sure these are the same, we'll put those in, select them both, and then just scale them on the y-axis. We can move them the exact same distance away there. That looks good. And then one on the bottom that's a little closer to the floor. It's just kind of actually this one will be about the same, and then where the doorway is we'll make that closer to the floor. Alright, Now we're going to delete some faces. We'll go into face select mode, and then we will get rid of, let's use the circle select tool. We'll press C, and then when we click and drag and hold the left mouse, it'll just highlight anything in there. That'll make it easy for us to kind of select multiple things at once. If you use the middle mouse button, you can deselect stuff, and then the left mouse button will select it. And you can adjust the size of the circle by scrolling the mouse wheel. Okay. Yeah, we want to get rid of those. So that's like the shape, and that one. That's the shape we want this all to be. Let's delete all those faces. Then we're left with this kind of frame, this edge in the middle. We're going to just press GZ and bring that closer to the floor. And now we're going to take this whole thing, let's move it forward a little bit on the x-axis. And now let's add a modifier to it, solidify. Let's make it about that thick. Let's change the offset to +1. That way our mesh is on the front side. We can see all our faces and work with them and stuff. And now that whole thing is in the wall nicely there. That looks good. Let's add thickness to this. Solidify. Same thing with the offset. Okay. And then we'll make the ceiling and the floor the same thickness. So we can click the ceiling and the floor, then click this wall, and then under Object, under Link Transfer Data, you can copy modifiers. I think there's a difference in thickness here because the scale of this piece is off. If we look over here, yeah, we see the scale is a little funky, so we'll press Ctrl A, apply the current scale so everything is 1, then we'll raise the thickness. Let's actually set the offset on these to -1. Ceiling one is fine, that doesn't matter. I'm actually going to move this floor. I don't think you're going to see that at all, but just for light bleed, in case any light would have bled through there, I just figured that would help. Okay, so believe it or not, this is the basic scene. So that concludes part 1. In part 2, we'll be putting in this background image, which is called an HDRI. That stands for High Dynamic Range Image. That's going to provide the background that you see, as well as some lighting for the scene. And then we're also going to put in this black metal texture on the window frame and this wooden texture on the floor. So please come back for part 2. If the video is already up, there should be a clickable thumbnail right over here for it. If the video is not up at the time that you watch this, just please stay tuned. It will be up very soon. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this has helped. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I hope to see you in part 2. Have a great day.